December 21st, 2012, Friday. Olympian came out of his room with his hair a mess. He slowly walked over to the refrigerator and pulled out a drink. "Did you sleep in your armor?" Darkspeed asked from one of the couches. "It's a costume, and yes, I always do. What are you doing up so early?" "It's 0550. It's not that early." "Yes, it is. My alarm clock went off at its normal time for morning exercises. But why are you up?" "I'm excited to go home. Can't sleep." "Is everyone else still asleep?" Olympian asked with a sly grin. "Yes. What are you thinking?" "Could you put your costume on? I have a joke in mind." "I don't think we should," Darkspeed said sheepishly. "Come on! Years from now, when we're telling stories about this place, yours will be so boring. Stick with me on this one and you'll have at least one practical joke to talk about." Olympian stood still waiting for an answer. "All right." Darkspeed blinked away and was wearing his costume, standing next to Olympian. "Perfect." Olympian went to his room to fix his hair and grab his heavy chopper. "Follow my lead. Don't hurt anyone or anything." Olympian smiled and started banging his hands together like small thunder cracks. "What?" she said as she ran from her room in pajamas. Olympian saw others come from their rooms to look at him. "Connors wants us in the pit in 60 seconds. One more session before vacation, and make sure you're in your costume." Olympian started to head to the door. "Is that true?" Bioforce asked Darkspeed. "We'll be waiting for you," Darkspeed said as he walked out of the common room behind Olympian. She and the others started scrambling to get their costumes on. Virtuoso was so groggy it wasn't until she was dressed and walking out of her room that she questioned why Olympian gave the order and Darkspeed followed. "How long before Virtuoso figures it out?" Darkspeed asked as he stood behind the coffee bar making something for him and Olympian. "I'm hoping she at least makes it out of the door," Olympian said in the quiet pavilion. "Wait," Virtuoso said to the other girls on her team. "What?" she asked. "It's a joke. Olympian and Darkspeed are playing us," Virtuoso said. "Then we need to find a way to get even with the boys for getting us up," Bioforce said with no humor in her face. "Not the boys, just those two." "Then where's Joseph?" she asked. "I can't tell. Let me check if he's in his room." Bioforce stepped close to his door and used her power. "Something's wrong with him." Bioforce checked the door and found it locked. "How wrong?" she asked. "Like when he overdosed." She didn't hesitate when she blasted the door's locking mechanism with her repulsion power. The girls rushed into Cosmo's room to find him on his bed. Reggie came alive on the far side of the common room. "You are not allowed in another team member's room," Reggie said loudly. "Leave the room or I'll contact Coach Connors." "What's that smell in here?" Virtuoso said as she covered her face. "It's the same smell as Inhaler made, but never this much," she said. "It's too much, like poison. We have to get him out of here," Bioforce said as she lifted Cosmos out of his bed and quickly walked to the common room. She touched her earpiece and said, "Connors, we have a medical emergency." "Connors? Connors? What is it?" Bioforce asked. "Something's wrong with the comm system." "Take cover!" she screamed as her precognitive sense took over. The basement of the dorm exploded out from under the building with deafening noise. The explosion was great enough to have destroyed any normal building. This building, held together with super steel laced throughout, was blown 20 feet up into the air and came down with a horrible crash. Darkspeed was trying to find some kind of footing as the building was coming back down toward the ground. He found himself trying to see through fire and trying to find a footing. "What happened?" Olympian asked as soon as the building crashed back down. "I don't know," Darkspeed said as he started digging through the rubble at high speed. "We need to get everyone out of the building. Go into rescue mode." "I hear screaming over here," Olympian said as he started grabbing large sections of wall and pushing them up. Virtuoso teleported Bioforce, she, and Cosmos out of the building and into the park. Bioforce had morphed larger on the warning and mostly protected Cosmos. Virtuoso had a few cuts on her face, but her costume protected her from most of the damage. She was virtually untouched. "I need the party line now," she barked. "It's on," Virtuoso thought to she and the other members of the team. "We need help for the rescue," Darkspeed started to think. "Quiet," she thought with force. "Cosmos was poisoned and the comm system's down. It was sabotage." "Broadcast to the hotel. Tell them to get out," Darkspeed thought as he rushed from the rubble. "Danger! Get out of the building!" Virtuoso thought loudly to all in the hotel. Darkspeed ran to the hotel and started taking people out as fast as he could. The hitters were pulling the other alphas from the fallen dorm building. Healers were attending to wounds of the injured as Bioforce attended to Cosmos. Darkspeed had retrieved over 50 parents and other family members. As a priority, he went after the parents of who he knew were red shirts. He had just retrieved the Pringle family when the bottom floor of the hotel exploded. The force was much greater than the one that went off in the dorm. Supers were jumping through windows and flying through the roof as the whole building collapsed. Behind him, Darkspeed heard the academic building go down as well. "I was off campus. What's going on?" Connors asked from next to Darkspeed. "In the last 30 seconds, comms are out, Cosmos was poisoned, and the dorm and the hotel have been blown up," Darkspeed said quickly. "Any idea who or why?" "No idea. Virtuoso, I need you here." Virtuoso teleported in next to Darkspeed and Connors. "What do you need?" "I need to know where people are trapped," Connors said. "There," she pointed. "And a few there." Virtuoso pointed in another direction. Darkspeed watched as most of the debris started rising in the air in layers. He looked back to see Connors concentrating as the hotel looked like it was now in zero gravity. "Get them out," Connors said. Darkspeed ran into the wreckage and was able to extract everyone in less than a second. Those he extracted were conscious and alive. The others he didn't take were other superheroes making sure the building had been evacuated. "What's the situation?" Shogun asked in his pajamas. "We're evacuating the academy until we know what's going on." "Darkspeed, find the teleporters and let them know. Everyone to London HQ," Connors said. Virtuoso shrieked in pain and made a horrified face. "We have 4 dead at the dorm." Connors looked at Shogun and said, "You're in charge of the evacuation of everyone. Darkspeed, you follow him." Connors flew to the dorm in an instant where the Alphas were gathered around in a circle. Wave was standing over the 4 bodies of the other Alphas. "I couldn't do anything for them, not once they've been dead for even a few seconds." Connors looked down at the bodies of Hollow, Armory, Kron, and Oracle. "We're evacuating the campus. Ranger, have your team take the bodies with. Everyone report to Shogun and Darkspeed. Move!" Connors barked. Both she and Glimmer perked up at the same time. "Incoming!" Explosions from artillery erupted around them, and some kind of discharges from a K-gun or N-gun started to strike all around. Connors rose in the air and saw a swarm of thousands of some kind of warrior bots coming down from north of campus. All the bots were heavily armed and shooting. "Get everyone out of here," Connors said loudly. Connors flew directly above the swarm, and with one energy strike, he shattered most of the swarm. Olympian was now next to him with his chopper drawn. "I said go," Connors said. "There are swarms coming from all directions. They're coming up out of the sand." Connors looked back at the parents and Alphas fighting the swarms of bots. Shogun stood in the center of everything and directed the teleporters to do as he instructed. Large groups of parents and students teleported away, and then the teleporter returned. Connors made circles around the group and destroyed bots that came too close to the evacuation. Zoner, who had to be healed, was finally able to open a large portal to London. The remaining parents and most of the Alphas rushed through the portal. As bots started to come up from underneath her, she jumped through the portal as it closed. "Is that everyone?" Connors yelled to Shogun. "First team and second team are unaccounted for." "What?" Connors said as he landed next to Shogun and blasted out away from his friend. Bots fell by the hundreds with each discharge, but more kept coming. Port appeared back to the spot he left next to Shogun. "Ah!" he screamed as he was quickly nicked by a shot from a bot. Connors destroyed all the bots that were in the direction of the hit. Shogun moved the young Alpha between them in an effort to keep him safe. "What now?" Shogun asked. "I'll get the 2 teams. Port, you take Shogun back to London," Connors said. "I should stay here," Shogun said. "Port, now!" Port disappeared, and so did Shogun. Connors put one hand above his head and let lightning discharge in all directions from him, destroying all the bots in a 300-foot radius. With the comm system down and Connors unable to be contacted telepathically, he had no idea where the 2 teams may be. Connors rose quickly into the air and looked around for his team. In the middle of the park, he saw 2 teams surrounding 2 healers and a downed Alpha. Connors flew to where they were. "Why haven't you left?" Connors asked as he destroyed a group of bots. "The healers didn't want to move Cosmos, so I stayed here," Darkspeed said. "Virtuoso, scan the campus to make sure everyone's gone."